I got the discussion topic of sexism. I think sexism is when someone who talks down to the opposite gender because they don't think they are capable of doing the task at hand. When reading the articles that I was given, some of the things that I thought were interesting or stood out to me was that sexism comes up in the workplace as simple as comments when a woman is being reviewed for their performance, she gets comments such as, "You had a good year," whereas men get more comments on how they did performance-wise. Then the other article that I read, it said that sexism is an everyday thing and it can or can't be it can be intentional or unintentional, and that everyday sexism also comes in 6 different ways. One of the main ones that I thought had a huge impact on today's society was number 5, assumptions that caring and careers do not mix. In this section, it talks about how women tend to get shamed when they choose their family and career equally, or they have their commitment to work questioned because they have to have flexibility when it comes to his or her family. It can be both. But yeah, just the 6 there. And then the third article I read, it was about how women are getting called girls instead of women and how that was really affecting women in the workplace. An example that I personally have when it comes to sexism in the workplace, school, and or communities is sometime during high school. So in high school these days you have like a dress code. However, to me it seems like it doesn't affect boys. So one day in my senior year, we have like a rewards day for scholarships that we've applied for or whatever. So we get dressed up. So I got dressed up in a dress and I did my hair and whatnot. So we had our whole reward ceremony, whatever. And then after that, I think it was about second period or whatnot. So I had a study hall. So I could have went home and changed, and I was contemplating on doing that because I don't really like wearing dresses at school. I've never worn dresses at school. I think I wore it once before. Just because it got really cold in our school. So, like, my legs would always be freezing cold. Anyway, someone told me, "Hey, you should keep it on. I think you look really nice in it." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that." So I kept my dress on, and about halfway through the school day, my secretary in the office came up to me and she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna need you to go home and change because your dress is too short." My dress we need to think, went to my fingertips if I stood straight, and the whole fingertip rule. And I always wear spandex underneath any of my dresses because I always have like a really weird thing that my dress is gonna get caught in my underwear or whatever. It's just me. So I always wear spandex. And I told her, "Hey, I'm wearing spandex." I'm like, "And it does the finger rule." And she's like, "I don't care. It's still too short." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And that day, too, there was a guy wearing a tank top, and girls can't wear tank tops because it shows their shoulders, and it just it kind of made me mad. One of the things that I noticed somebody getting treated kind of poorly was while I was going to school at Northwestern Iowa Community College. I worked at a restaurant called Cook's Cafe, Langer's Bar and Grill. They're both the same thing. And my head waitress, she worked her butt off. She would come in on her days off and she would clean. She would come in when we were closed and she would clean, and she'd deep clean, and she'd do all this stuff, and she did a lot for this restaurant. Well, and she had asked for like a week or so off for, she was doing something. I can't remember what it was. And he was like talking about how he can't find anybody to work in replace of her, and that he needs her to be here and all this stuff. And she's like, well, she's like, I never get any days off. I come here when I'm sick. I come here when I do have days off. She's like, I come here all the time. Like, I'm always here. Like, you need some days off here and there. And yeah, so he like basically treated her like absolute garbage because he wanted her to come in and work on her when she asked for a vacation. Kind of made me mad. When I went and I looked at some of the court cases and some of the court cases, the majority of the court cases that I looked at, they had won the cases because they were discriminated on account of the sex. I did look at a couple other websites, and it says about 4 in 10 women are discriminated against in the workplace because of their gender, about 42%, and there's, yeah, it has a whole big statistic thing. For some of the strategies that I kind of saw some on one of the websites and stuff, it says when we're talking to someone within a company, we need to be mindful and let everybody get a word in, whether they're female or male or, both of their opinions matter. We just need to hear them out. We need to make sure that we aren't making jokes in the sexist ways. And if we do hear someone saying a joke in a sexist way, we need to make sure that we need to be calling them out a little bit and making sure that they didn't mean it in that way, that's offensive towards you. And we do also need to make sure that we're not making assumptions on one's career, on how they prioritize their career, because they might have other stuff going on in their life. My takeaway is, in these articles, it made me realize stuff that I actually do in my personal day-to-day life that I didn't realize I was doing. So that really helped me notice the things, and just things that I've been through in like my other jobs that I never realized that they were doing at the time. But it was very eye-opening towards me, and very, very interesting to get to learn more about this subject. So, thanks.